Hello. So if you're watching this video, you probably know me from my YouTube channel, Fruitful Doula Services, and I am a holistic doula and a certified women's health coach. So normally my videos aim to support women through their health journey and through pregnancy, postpartum, fertility, menopause, you name it, I'm there to support you. So today's video is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to get a little deep dive personal, and I'm just going to be very vulnerable and share my story and tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm going to put a comment here that I had received from someone, and that's not what this video is about, but it's just that she had made this comment and it was about my outward appearance. Now, 9 out of 10 times I like to always tell people is like your outward appearance does not define your internal struggles, things that are consistently going on with you. It doesn't happen. And there are a lot of women out there who struggle with their outward appearance while they're completely healthy physically. And I mean, no offense to this woman, but there are a lot of women out there who appear healthy and they've got a thin body, and then they have as many menstrual issues as a person of a bigger figure. So that's not the importance of this video, but I thought, I will mention that since I am going to be vulnerable and share my story here today, that 9 out of 10 times I am a very healthy person. In the past little while, it hasn't been that way. So if you know my videos, I've shared previously my history with my periods and how they had regulated over the years, and I was very happy about that. But after COVID had hit, I had gained a lot of the weight back that I had lost. I had my periods kind of go back to a more will come a little longer of a struggle, and that was okay. I mean, there are people who have longer time in between. Their ovulation times are different. Like it isn't that picture perfect 28 day cycle that they always talk about, because it just isn't the perfection of that. That's not reality. But yeah, so I wanted to share my journey a little bit. So to be honest, in the past 2-3-ish years, it has not been going that good for me. And it's my own fault. I have not really put an effort into trying. I just have kind of like, when I go to see another healthcare practitioner, and oftentimes their first thing is you're fat, lose weight, that bums me out. And mentally, I've had mental health issues in the past, and I just didn't want to deal with that again, and I don't want to deal with that again. So I avoided getting any help. I've avoided trying to fix it myself. I've just avoided it. Like, I'd rather just ignore it for a little while. And I thought, some of my weight might go away once I got the preschool job, because you're active with children, but it's going the other way, which is really funny for me, and I'm still trying to figure that out myself. I think I mentioned it briefly here, but I'll repeat that. In last year, 2024, October, I ended up with strep throat with an abscess inside my throat. So for 3 days, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't eating. Yet, not only did I gain weight, I had to go to the hospital because I needed antibiotics cleared. I was not clearing it on my own. And, when you don't eat for 3 days, your girl gets hangry. She gets really, that's a real statement I made in another video. I do get hangry. Like, I'm off for blood. So with that, I ended up having a CT scan done on my throat. And on my thyroid, they had seen there was like a spot on my thyroid. So they wanted to do an ultrasound for that as a precaution, and then I kind of delayed it. Just, I wasn't like wanting to look into that, because I know that with something like that, they might go, oh, we have to do a biopsy because we're unsure. And then from a biopsy, then we're like, oh, well, it's benign, or what is it? And I didn't want to deal with the possibility or thought of what that was. So, I will be eventually reaching out to get support on trying to look into that thyroid a little bit more. I also had got a hair and saliva test done last year, and I had gotten the results from it, and in there they had said that you had, there was a history of the parasites, and that test had happened before I had gone to get the antibiotics. So antibiotics kills parasites. And from then, that leads into my eating problems. So my eating issues a little bit strive with the fact that I'm a very picky eater. I struggle with a lot of different types of foods. You know, I'm that little kid that says, ew, broccoli. Well, no, broccoli I kind of like, but I don't like a lot of other things. And a lot of foods they just don't sit with me right. So I actually go, and when I did, as my sister had requested, she had suggested, why don't you try tracking your food for a little bit? And I thought, I'll just do it for a week. I'll see how I react. But pretty much from what that app had suggested, and this was, of course, some of them were store-bought where I do homemade, like we have homemade protein chia seed pudding for breakfast. I ended up having, like, put just in the store-bought, whatever that brand came up. So it could even be less calories or maybe even a little more. But 9 out of 10 times I was in a calorie deficit. Even on the day that I consider eating junk food, where I have, you know, a little bowl with some chips and a cookie or two and some chocolate, Lindor, I love my Lindor, and that junk food day was still technically considered calorie deficit. Now, again, it could be off a little bit, it could be a little bit more, it could be a little bit less, but regardless of the point, I was still in pretty much a range of eating 1,900 to 2,000 calories. It just, you know, that's the problem. And then I'm gaining weight. I'm not losing weight, I'm gaining weight. So there's a lot of struggles I'm sitting with my own health, and eating's a very big problem for me. I came a while back. My mother, I grew up, she would always make homemade applesauce with dinner. So that was a way for me to easier to eat things. And she got older, she couldn't make me applesauce all the time, and it just wasn't an expense that we could add to our plate of purchasing applesauce every week. So I've just slipped from that, and then it ended up turning into ketchup. And as we all know, ketchup is not the healthiest thing in the world, especially when you get maybe a no-name brand, or, you know, you're just, you know, it's just a whole different ball game. So that has kind of turned into the ketchup addiction that I call it. So, and you're probably wondering, what does this all have to do with the current day? But I have to explain the bigger picture before I can tell you the problem and what I'm working on this week and what I want to work on next week and give an update. That's why these video updates are going to come on my Wednesday videos about me, just because, you know, I want to be personal and share my journey with you as much as possible. So when it comes to food, like I said, I get it's a rough subject for me. Rough subject. I'm a very, very picky eater. There's a lot of things I don't like more than I do like, if that makes sense. So food is a hard topic. Ketchup is what has aided me through most meats, through most dinners, eggs, like all the things that you are eating. I normally eat it with ketchup. And there's a fun story about my childhood about me eating ketchup with oatmeal, but that's for another day. So now I want to talk about the personal problems that are happening today. So the past half a year, I have dealt with very bad edema. And my feet are 9 out of 10 times very swollen. My ankles, that's when it gets the worst. And my toes, they can't wiggle when it's that swollen. And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of hate on the comments and whatnot about it. But, you know, I made a video a couple years back, or last year, don't remember. And it was explaining, you know, oh, boop, my toes are wiggling or something. And people commented on a lot that was really cute. But the biggest problem is that's an enjoyment that I 9 out of 10 times do not get because my feet can be so swollen. And the first summer that it started, I really thought it was the summer heat. Like I thought, oh, it's because it's so hot, you know, that's got to be the reason. And then summer left. And then it started to come around a bit more, and it would come to the point, and I don't really want to show my feet on here, but you could press into my leg or into my ankles, and it would stay. Like, you know, when you make press and then it's like white. So I just kind of ignored it. I just thought I'll ignore it. I'll avoid it as best as possible, and it'll go away on its own. So then someone online had said in a curvy group that I'm in that they use horse chestnut. And so I bought a bottle of that. I took that, and it did help on the days that I took it. But I don't want to be taking horse chestnut for the rest of my life. So when my sister saw my issue, she's really into herbalism, naturopath, and she helped do some research with me. And she was like, oh, well, you gotta lift your head above your ceiling at least every hour for 15 minutes. I don't have 15 minutes every hour to stick my feet up on the ceiling. Plus, I can't do it too well because laying on my back, it hurts my spine. So, I was finding that if I laid on the couch and I put my feet up on the headrest of the couch, that would work. So I was finding little solutions here and there to help. But I don't want to be doing long term. And that kind of attention to detail is not my strong suit. So I also, for the past, I want to say half a year, have not had a regular period. Actually, for all of 2025 so far, I have not had a regular period. But unfortunately, in February of this year, my grandmother had passed away. She lived with us. We were her caretakers, and to this side of the room, this is where her bed used to be. I would have never been able to sit here and talk. She passed away, and we were very close. I've lived with her all my life, so I think that shift has been a factor in it. But as we all know, periods are meant to come only when we know that your body is safe and that when your body is able to hold a child. So because right now my body is feeling, with the edema, with, maybe the stress of my grandmother, that whole body approach, I need to look at the whole bigger picture here, that it might not just be a physical thing, it might also be an emotional thing that I'm working through. And so that's why my body is probably not, giving me that period. And we took a trip, and I thought, oh, maybe it'll come then, because, whenever you don't want it to come, it will come. But that was not the case. It didn't. It spotted. And I had one day of a little bit of spotting this month. Wait, no, we're June. So in May, I had a little bit of spotting. But this is not helping me at all. So last weekend, I decided I will try 1 week sugar-free. As much as I hate that, that would mean no ketchup. That would mean no dessert, no snack, just my usual routine. I was going to throw it out the window. So this past week from June, when was Monday? Pretty much Monday till tomorrow, Sunday, because I'm recording this on a Saturday. And you're going to get it a little bit later. But I have been sugar-free. I have avoided ketchup. I have avoided my desserts and my snacks. Well, my sister made naturally sweetened. So I was still allowing myself honey. I was still allowing myself maple syrup and unprocessed sugars. So I was natural sugar / a cane or a coconut sugar. So I was allowing those types of sugars. So ketchup without that for dinner, that has been the hardest pain point. But other than that, my life hasn't really changed. Because since my sister was she made peach cobbler, but the dough didn't have sugar in it, the options are there to try different things. And I cannot believe the difference of my shoes. My feet, they can wiggle again. And I could press in the toes, and they're just, they look normal again. And it hurts me so bad because I'm I love my life the way it was. I enjoy food, the ones that I do like, and so when it's gone, that's sad to me. So next week, the video, when you're going to get to see it, this is the week that I'm actually trying it. Next week, I am going to do the following. So next week, I am going to try to put sugar back in, have dessert, have regular, just my usual food, and avoid ketchup. And I'm going to see if the ketchup made the big difference or if it's sugar as a whole and how I can better myself. So this kind of goes hand in hand with the period thing that I was trying to explain earlier, because cue in with the period issue. Now we're going to see that I am trying to include this week, I need to get back into my dry brushing. So dry brushing is where you have a bristle brush. I should have brought it down to show you. You have a bristle brush, and you wipe it over your legs. You go from your legs, normally in a repetition of 5s from what I've studied. So a repetition of 5, then you go up near your pelvis. You can't see my hands here, but you'll go up near your pelvis, and then you will have down your arms like so on both sides, and then you go here and you push it to your heart. So you're gonna, with the dry brush, go here. So that's what I've been doing, and if anybody knows tips on how to do it better, please do tell in the comments below. But that's the goal, to include the week that you're watching this. That's where I'm going to be working on that, and I'll give you an update next time. It won't be as long because I won't have to go through the backstory. But, so, I will be doing the dry brushing. I will also be trying, so I'm trying a bunch of different things, but this is more of just getting into the routine of things, and that is to help with my thyroid. I don't know where the thyroid is in the body here. I have to look at my anatomy picture again, but so I want to dry brush again, and I also want to get into castor oil packs. So a castor oil pack is said to aid and support not only your uterus, but it's supposed to support if you have like kidney stones or have some type of like benign little thing. And I think before I get more radiation from an ultrasound, I would really, really, really like to try to see if I could get this gone of my own will. And so I am going to put, it sounds so silly, but I'm going to put a castor oil pack around my neck, and then you get heat and you apply it on top of the castor oil pack. And you're supposed to do it for like an hour, I think. So I'm hoping I'm going to do that in the evenings when I text my boyfriend, which I'll tell you about that a little bit in a second. So with that happening, I'm hoping that's going to help whatever was going on in there. And if the thyroid problem can fix, that can help with the weight. Because technically, with the past week of all the work that I've been doing, I should have seen some weight go away, especially because I've now ate less than I was in the calorie deficit, like I shouldn't be. And it looked like I had lost 5 pounds. But then this morning when I checked, it went up again, and I was like, but I didn't add any food. And I've been moving, and like it's always driven me crazy. So that is a little bit on the process of what's going to be happening, and I hope to update you on all what's happening the week after. But that's the goal a little bit. So tee into the why, and why I'm so passionate to change things now. So as I said a second ago, I met a guy, really like him, and I'm knowing he probably watching this. Hi. Sorry, I almost had a near-death experience. So I met a guy, and we're pretty serious about each other, and if things go the way we are hoping, I hope to eventually be getting into a form of relationship where we would become parents. And if that's the case, my body needs to be able to do that. So I need to really put myself into effect, and it may come off to some people like it's an unrealistic goal, or there's so much to it before, it really would happen. But it was a motivator before in the past, and now it could be a motivator again. And I want a family. Like, nobody's business. I want a family. I mean, I do this kind of work because I love women. I love women's health. I love supporting other women. But there will come a time that all of this knowledge that I've collected and gained, I want to use for myself. And so that's why this has started, because I want to share with you a little bit about what I'm going through and just be real, raw and honest, and share with you so that you can see there's a purpose behind my madness. And I hope you stick with me even though you've heard my vulnerable story. And if you know of anyone going through similar things, maybe share it with them, get them to comment below. I'd love to hear their stories. I love interacting with you, so please do share anything you'd like, and together, let's hopefully keep me accountable. Let's get on top of everything, and it works out perfectly. Thank you so much for watching, and please make sure to hit the subscribe button and follow for more. And I will have lots of other tips too if you don't want to see this usual content. And peace.